Welcome back to the Devil in the Details. We are fresh off the Manchester derby where Man United were victorious in a 2-1 win over Manchester City. In this video, I'm going to highlight the keys to success and failure from a tactical point of view in what was an intriguing game of chess between Erik ten Hag and Pep Guardiola. Man United set up in a 4-2-3-1 with a narrow front four designed to force City out wide when they're building play. This worked really well in the first half due to City being in a 4-3-3 setup with their fullbacks hugging the touchline. The keys to success and failure were evident within the first 15 minutes of the game. City at times lured Rashford and Bruno Fernandes into central zones, which meant that they could not track back and cover the switch of play to the fullbacks. Anticipating that this would happen on occasion, Ten Hag instructed Casemiro to track any runs in behind and drop into the back four to make a back five. For the most part, Man United's wide players were able to successfully press centrally and track back to cover the fullbacks. On this occasion, Bruno Fernandes is tracked back and Man United's frontline is in the perfect position to force City back to recycle the play. Here we have another example, this time on the opposite side of the pitch. Here you can see Fred tasked with marshalling KDB, and this zone on the pitch became a critical battleground. Fred did a good job throughout the first half, but this example highlights how crucial his role was. Losing this one battle to KDB had a domino effect. Casemiro was forced to come across, then drop into the defence to make a back five, which gives Bernardo Silva time to switch the play and set up an overload down the left-hand side. It was clear that whenever Man United lines were broken and the play went out wide, Ten Hag instructed his team to flood the box with numbers and leave no space for City to exploit. Pep's response was to overload the only area where there was space, which was at the back post. We're only 6 minutes into the game here, and you can see the battle lines have been drawn. The keys to success for Manchester City is to find a way to exploit the half space, and their build-up structure was key to doing this. In the first half, City had no success with Rodri dropping into the back three, as this didn't disrupt Man United's first phase of pressing. In this setup for City, Martial could press Rodri with Eriksen free to focus on blocking the passing lanes. With this being ineffective, the key adjustment that Pep made was asking Bernardo Silva to drop deep to start attacks. With Rodri occupying Eriksen, it nullified Man United's front three, leaving passing lanes open for Bernardo Silva to exploit and find City's fullbacks. And we see the impact of that adjustment that Pep Guardiola made on Man United's shape. Malacia is drawn out of position, and you can see multiple passing lanes are now open. Man United's midfield trio are now very narrow, leaving room for Silva, who has time and space to pick a ball into the box. And again, you can see City overloading at the back post, the only area where they're going to find space in the penalty box against Manchester United in this game. Manchester United's defensive structure was excellent in the first half, but what was equally important was carrying a threat on the counter-attack. And what was impressive about Man United's counter-attack in that first half was the variety involved. The first phase of the press was working well, forcing City into risky passes, allowing Man United to win the ball high up the pitch to start counter-attacks. The organisation without the football meant when they recovered the ball in their own half, their midfielders were in close proximity to each other. They were calm, composed, exchanged passes, and gave each other time and space to play forward passes in behind to find Marcus Rashford. Overall, I think it's fair to say Man United were the better team in the first half. The mid-block setup, the narrow front four, the two midfielders covering behind the front four frustrated Manchester City and KDB in particular. And they also had a measured and direct approach on the counter-attack. This was all reflected in the first half stats, with Manchester United having a better XG, more shots on goal, and they also created more bigger chances than Manchester City in the first half. In the second half, Pep Guardiola made an important adjustment. He inverted City's fullbacks, giving them a numerical advantage in the central zones, which improved their build-up play. This allows City to bypass Man United's first phase of pressing, forcing them deeper into their own half. This adjustment from Pep is what led to Manchester City scoring on 60 minutes. Kyle Walker's positional change forced Fred to mark him, leaving KDB free to either drop deep to playmake or make runs between Man United's lines. It was the latter that led to the first goal. Notice the overload from the back post at City as well, where we've seen that before. As I said at the beginning of the video, the battle lines were drawn very, very early in the game. It just took some very, very fine tuning from Pep Guardiola to exploit the few weaknesses that Manchester United had in their defensive structure. Those weaknesses were not only exploited because of Pep Guardiola's adjustments in the second half, but because Manchester United also didn't carry a serious counter-attacking threat. The decision to bring on Antony for Martial didn't have a positive impact, and it disrupted the synergy that we saw in the first half between Martial, Bruno and Rashford. Another contributing factor was the poor passing from Casemiro and Eriksen in transition. I've included a few examples of Eriksen making consecutive unforced errors just to highlight this is a clear sign of fatigue. His impact off the ball defensively was also negated by City's change in their build-up structure. Ten Hag's in-game management during this critical period in the match is what won the game here for Manchester United. Here you see Bruno Fernandes in a central position, running in behind for the first goal. And of course for the second goal, Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho and Rashford were all involved. Overall, I'd say Pep won the tactical battle to address Man United's compact mid-block structure, but his players just weren't up to the required level to hurt a well-organised Manchester United team, whereas Ten Hag's adjustments won the game in a short period in the second half for Manchester United, and his players, the Man United players, were at the required level to execute his game plan. Margins are fine at this level, and it was a fascinating game from a tactical point of view, and I really, really enjoyed that aspect of the Manchester derby. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.